Hi everybody, Rachel here from RachelTheStamper.com, and today I'm going to show you another card in our Father's Day May card kit to go. Now this one is a really simple card that you could make this into a Father's Day card, birthday card, any card really easily, because all I did was I cut and I did it 2 at a time. So if you purchase the bundle, you will see that there are 2 of these longer oars, and these oars actually have a pattern on them. So there's 2 of those. So the nice part is you can cut multiples at the same time, and then 2 of the shorter oars. So basically what I did was I just cut a bunch of different oars out of leftover scrap paper that I had, and I layered them together. Now, I did use one other stamp set for this part. This is the Itty Bitty Greetings. This is actually a 2-part stamp set, and it has lots of different greetings. So we are using World's Best Father, which isn't included in the By the Dock stamp set. But if you have any World's Best Father or Happy Father's Day sentiment, you could certainly swap it out. So we are going to start by stamping the sentiment, because that part is super easy. And these little strips, which I did include for you, I actually make these when I cut my paper in half to quarter it. So lots of little scraps. So I just basically reuse the pieces that I don't throw away. So we're going to stamp this in Garden Green ink. And let's see, we're going to put it pretty good. Let's see. And then what you can do is you still could trim this down a little bit, because this is a little bit wide. So you could trim this down a little bit smaller, just kind of depends on what you want to do. So, and mine actually, now I look at it, it's going a little bit crooked. So let me try that one more time. See if we can stamp this a little bit straighter. That's a little better, but you know, Dad won't mind. My dad won't anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of estimate where I want this cut. So I'm going to cut probably about 2 inches on each side. Okay, and then I'm going to cut in the middle with my scissors. So I make a little cut, and then I'll cut from each side to flag the end. So if you have a punch, you could flag the end with a punch if you wanted to. You could flag this with a square punch if you have one. Or you can just do it with snips like this. And then one other thing, so for me this is fine, oops, but if you want this a little bit slimmer, what you could do is you could either take it, if you have a little trimmer, and you could trim the end of it off. But personally what I usually do is I will just grab my long scissors and trim it. And I tend to do this, I'll tell you what, I tend to do it after I stamp it, because if I cut it first, I have a really hard time stamping it so it's actually in the center. Oops. Of the piece. I'm going to go just a little bit. And if this, I'm making myself look like a fool now. If this is a little too hard for you, you can make it so it's just a little bit wider one. So I could totally understand either way that you'd want to do it. So that's probably going to be the hardest part of what you're going to do, which is trimming that down if you decide to do it. But otherwise, this card is super simple. So it uses a base of Night of Navy and a beautiful piece of soon-to-be retiring Pineapple Punch. So if you love this card, I think this is one of our best yellows. You better get some before it sells out. This is retiring this year. It could already be sold out by the time this video is posted. I don't really know, but this measures 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this to our card base. Okay, and turn it over and layer this on. I like using the liquid glue because it gives you the flexibility that if you don't like the way it's centered, you can kind of still adjust it. And then all I did was I kind of decided where did I want these pieces, because your pieces might look a little different than mine, because I cut all different kinds of scraps. So you could have the same pieces, you could have different pieces, but I kind of just layered them. So I want a long oar at each end, and then I kind of want one sort of in the middle, and then we have a short and a short, and then another short. And you can use either one. So I tried to make it sure the patterns didn't repeat. And when I made your packets, I did my best to make sure that none of them were the same either, that they were all, that you would have opposite ones. So I'm just going to start at each end. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. Kind of stick this, whoops, down. Now the good part is if you do smear the glue does dry clear. So it won't be a big goopy mess on there. You could also use your fine tip glue pen instead. There you go. So those are the two outer. And we'll do the longer one. And I'm kind of just trying to keep the long ones so they're relatively the same height visually, but they don't have to be exact. And kind of spacing these a little bit so they're kind of making a nice median with their height. So there's that one. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sentiment here, and I did give you guys a quarter sheet of dimensionals. So I just cut them into quarters. So you should have at least one of these little skinny pieces on a side of yours that you can just snip off. So this is just basically the edge here, okay? So you should all have some sort of an edge. I'm just putting that underneath. And I'm gonna kind of center this for the most part. Hopefully I don't have too much glue or any ink on my fingers, and I'm going to stamp that. So this is a very simple card. So I thought we could at least do a little something. Now I did not finish the inside of mine, but I thought we could at least finish the inside of this one that I was showing you guys. So I have a piece of, and yours already has a piece of Whisper White inside. So I figured it'd be at least nice to do something. So what we'll do is we're going to stamp this little kind of short image here, just because it's kind of something a little fun. So you can do this a couple different ways. You could stamp this in black ink and then add some color to it. You could do it with your markers, kind of depends. I'm just going to do it just a little bit with markers. I'm not going to make it too fancy. So I'm going to stamp this with Memento ink. And I'm going to keep it kind of like right here. So that way you'll have a little, actually I'm going to go to the side. So you have a little space if you want to write your greeting. So let me show you what I mean. So it's kind of down here towards the bottom left, okay? And then what we're going to do, we're going to give that a moment to dry, and we're going to kind of, in the meantime, we'll pick out some color. So I'll do Seaside Spray because that's a nice light color. We're assuming that this inside here is going to be the water, and then this side would be the grass, but you could do opposite because I have done it both ways. You also could use Balmy Blue. That's a pretty nice light yellow as well. And then I'm going to grab Soft Seafoam. That's a very nice light yellow. And Pear Pizzazz, and then just a little bit of Crumb Cake just to color in some of these guys here. One other thing you could do if you're trying to get more tones out of this is you could use a blender pen, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So for the water, what we'll do is we'll start with the Seaside Spray, and I'm going to use the brush tip. And I'm not going to press super hard, and I don't really want it to be completely filled. I'm just trying to give the illusion of the water there. So we'll add just a little bit at the edge. Kind of go around just a little. Not a whole lot. You could do this with sponges instead if you wanted to. So then I'm going to make sure this is clean, and I should have a piece, here we go, of scrap. Because you always want to clean this off. And we'll kind of just blend this together just a little. Now this next color, Balmy Blue, is a little dark. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to actually take some ink from the tip of this with my blender pen and just kind of bring it around. And actually what this does, it gives you a softer color. So instead of you having Balmy Blue, which can be a little bit of an overpowering color, it is a very, very deep blue. And I'll show you by just a little bit of a tracing here. Really shows up. It's not quite as light as it looks. Just bring a little bit through, and you can completely see the difference of the two colors there. So what you're doing is you're basically just making this softer by taking it off of either the ink pad or the marker directly. Okay, so there's that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the cattail just with a little bit of crumb cake, and I'm going to do, oops, the little grass here with the pear pizzazz, and I'm going to do the edge. So I'm going to go along the edge of the grass by taking my marker, kind of following along and going out just a little. I'm going to take my blender pen, just try to soften the edge just a little bit. You don't want to rub too much, because if you do work it too much, you can actually pill the paper. So I'm going to take my blender pen again with the crumb cake and just bring it. It'll make it really light, so it's just giving a little bit of color and just kind of fill in these couple little things. Okay. And then with the lightest color, now I'm going to go back with my soft seafoam, and kind of we're imagining this is grass, is just fill in and you can even kind of take your soft seafoam and add in a couple little grassy pieces. Just like that. And then you can obviously stamp something else on the inside here if you wanted to. Since you did World's Best Father, you could say, thank you for making a difference in my life. There's lots of different sentiments you could add, but I'm going to add this to the inside. And the nice part is, too, you could even save this for something else. So if you didn't want to make this into a Father's Day card, you could leave the inside blank. And this would make a nice, just a thinking of you card. And I'm going to show you again. I put this in completely crooked, but since I use the liquid glue, it helps me to be able to adjust it a little bit as needed. So there you go. So it looks really cute, nice on the inside, and the colors will soften up a little bit once they're dried, but really nice card. I'll show you the original. And then again, just very simple colors. So you have that really simple navy and yellow combination. Makes it really pretty, very bright and cheery. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, as always, all you have to do is leave me a comment here, or you can send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.